make my final stand. That's why they call me bad company, and I can't deny. Bad company till the day I die. Till the day I die. Till the day I die. Rebel souls, deserters we are called. Chose a gun and threw away the sword. Now these towns, they all know our name. Six gun sound is our claim to fame. I can hear them say, bad company, and I won't deny. Bad company, till the day I die. Yeah, till the day I die. Bad company, I can't deny. Bad company, till the day I die. I said, bad company, oh yeah, yeah, bad company, till the day I die. Whoa, yes. I'm young and I'm free. Oh, but I'm bad. That's the way I play. Dirty for dirty. Somebody come and try. Yeah, the bad company. The coldest blood.
Welcome to the Business Operations Blueprint Challenge. Thank you for joining us. Whether you're joining us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or you got the special invite link, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to have you here to this challenge. What is the point of this challenge? Well, it's simple. It's the Business Operations Blueprint. By the end of these 5 days, our commitment to you is to give you a blueprint to navigate your business through the economic uncertainty that we find ourselves in the world. And we're going to do that in just 5 days, 1 hour a day, live here with us, and of course, at no cost for this general session. Now, I want to caution you. Typically, as human beings, we tend to disregard things that we don't pay for or we don't pay a lot for. And that is a crucial mistake that you could make in this challenge. Even though it is a free challenge, my ask to you is that you treat this like you paid $1,000, $2,000, $10,000 to be here. Because quite honestly, that's the value that we're going to give you by showing up. If you treat this like it is your priority for the next 5 days, I promise you will walk away with more than just a blueprint. You will walk away with the confidence to navigate your business through any economic situation that we may find ourselves in the next 6 to 12 months. Now, that being said, you did have the opportunity at checkout to upgrade to VIP. I do want to encourage you to go ahead and do that if you have not already. Fun fact, we had a little technological issues over the past literally 30 minutes before we started this broadcast, and that landing page is down. So in the comments here, we're going to have one of our team members, Joe, drop his email. It's going to be joe@whadif.com. And what if you see is all over the screen here. It's spelled a little bit differently. Email Joe. He'll get you set up if you want to upgrade to VIP, and you will have access to all of the insane bonuses that come with that throughout the course of the week. Real quick, I want to tell you about what those are so you don't miss out. You will get after this general session, we have 30 minutes of VIP access. That's going to be with Sean, who I'll introduce here in a second, and any of our special guests from that day. You're going to get one-on-one and an opportunity to ask questions, get personalized answers to your business, get clarification on anything we talked about throughout the day, and really just get your questions answered and get more in-depth answers to those questions. The other thing you're going to get by upgrading to VIP is 1 month of our BAM Mastermind. This is the Business Accelerator Mastermind. It is a call once a week on Tuesdays, and you get to join these calls just for the cost of upgrading to VIP. VIP is $197. These calls alone will normally cost you $397 a month. You're also going to get a one-on-one review of your bad assessment, which we'll talk about in just a second, but you should have gotten an email to take that. That is the assessment we use to figure out where your business is right now. You're going to get a one-on-one review with one of our FCOOs, our fractional COOs. That could be myself or someone else from our team, and really see exactly where your business is right now. You're also going to get one module of our BOMB course. Now, this course is valued at $10,000. We're going to give you 10% of that course just for upgrading to VIP. You could see how that justifiably we could charge $1,000 for. We're not charging anything for it. It comes with the VIP upgrade. You are also going to get on top of all of that, you're going to get the first 10 people are going to get the second tier of our BAM Mastermind. That comes with one-on-one coaching with one of our fractional COOs, and that service is valued at $1,000 a month. So I'm not that good at math. I don't know what all that adds up to, but it's a lot, and you're only going to get it for $197. Now, before we go any further, I do want to address this. I'm not here to sell you on anything. This is not a sales pitch. That was the last time I'm going to mention VIP. You do have the opportunity to upgrade throughout the rest of today and up until the challenge starts tomorrow. I'm not going to talk about that again. The purpose of this challenge, like I said, is to give you the blueprint and the roadmap for your business. We're not going to talk about anything we have to sell you. Our presenters are going to come on here. They're going to talk about what they do, not to sell you. They're going to help you build that blueprint and that roadmap for your business. The next time we'll talk about any opportunity to work with us and buy something from us is not until Thursday. Thursday is a very big deal. We have an insane offer for you, but put your wallets away. That's not why we're here. We're here to deliver insane value so that you have what we promised you would have at the end of these 5 days. Now, who is Whadif? What's a what if? Why did they spell it wrong? I know you have all these questions, right? Whadif is a business accelerator. What we do is we help your company grow. Our founder, who you're going to hear from in just a second, Sean Delaney, he has an insane background that I will go over with you, but he, as a consultant and a fractional COO for the past 25 years, he has been there, done that. He's been through economic highs and lows, and he's been with the biggest companies in the world and the smallest companies in the world. He can get you from point A to point B in your business, and there's a roadmap to get you there. So I said we had a bad assessment, right? It's not a bad assessment. It's actually very good. It's just called the Business Architecture Diagnostic. We'll also put a link to that in the chat in a second. If you have not already taken that, like I said, it did come in an email when you registered. I want you to take that assessment. That's what we're going to be diving into today. And this will identify a score for you, an actual numerical score in the 10 key areas of business that Sean has identified here at Whadif that you need to not only know, but master in order for your business to grow and thrive in any economy, but especially in the one we are in right now. So when you take this assessment, it will take you 8 minutes. And I can prove that because we have the averages on our spreadsheet. It takes people on average 8 minutes and 32 seconds to take that assessment, and you'll have the results of where your business stands this very moment. If you don't have 8 minutes to invest in yourself and your business, then pay extra close attention because we're going to get you there. But please do take that assessment by the end of today so you can go through the rest of the week and really understand where to put things. So like I said, we're going to have speakers come in. They're going to be from different backgrounds. Some are marketing, sales. We have culture and people and HR and leadership. All of these different areas. It can be really confusing to go through your day-to-day business life and even the course of this challenge without a framework to put that on. The bad is an introduction to that framework. We're going to talk about the 10 different areas of business, not all this week, but you will have that assessment that goes over those 10 areas so that when these people come in, you know what area we're talking about and where to put those tips, tricks, advice, formulas, whatever it may be. You can easily compartmentalize the different things we talk about, but you need to know where your business stands in each of those areas right now. So please go take that assessment. Link will be in the chat and we'll get that to you. Take it after the call today. Come prepared for the rest of the week. Now, finally, I want to introduce to you, like I said, my brother, my friend, my mentor, Sean Delaney. I met Sean probably about a year ago at this point, and he's one of those people where when you first meet him, you're like, this guy is a little bit different. I promise you it's in a good way. You're going to hear from him in just a second, but Sean is a ball of energy, and beneath the ball of energy is a wealth of wisdom and knowledge. And not only that, he is a teacher, as I mentioned. He can convey that knowledge in a way that makes you understand it. He can simplify business in a matter of seconds so that he can take Fortune 50 level topics and talk to a fifth grader about them. That is a skill that not many people have and that I am blessed to introduce to you here in this challenge today. So without further ado, Sean is going to talk about the companies he has worked with in just a second. I want to bring him on the screen. Welcome, please, my friend, Sean Delaney.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Hey there. Sean here. Brandon, am I good to go? We're good to go.
You are good, my brother. Take it away.
I hear that description. I go, wow, I want to know that guy. And then I'm like, that it? I am that guy. I don't know. I don't need to know that guy. I am that guy. Anyway, I am so excited to be here. Have I ever been called a ball of energy before? I don't know. I'll take it. You'll also find that I have the unique ability to always turn any comments about me into a compliment somehow. So yes, I am Sean Delaney. And for 25 years, I've worked with some of the biggest brands in the world. Nike, Uber, J&J, MetLife. I'm supposed to be advancing slides. Little minor mom and pop shops that you might have heard of. And one of the things I found over my career is that all businesses are the same. They're all the same. Every one of my clients thinks they are a snowflake. They tell me, it's not here. You just need to know our culture, or you need to know how we do things around here. Then you'll understand that we're very unique. You're not. I'm sorry. But that's a good thing, because if you distill things down to the proper level and understand them, then the problem over here looks the same as the problem over here. We're all the same. As long as business is people doing commerce. These people doing a thing or producing a thing for these people in an exchange, then I understand it. You understand it. We all understand it. We like to make it bigger and fancier and more complicated because, we're all we're all masochists in a way in business, and we decide that we want to go home at the end of the day and go, oh man, I'm not gonna believe what I'm doing. Okay, all things are the same. And so I developed a system to handle these problems. But what I found was something very unique. I could unravel some of the worst entanglements in an operation. I could create the smoothest operation. I could reveal the clearest strategy, the most compelling vision. I could make operations run like a Swiss watch. Credit to the Swiss. I could streamline operations. I could build the world's most beautiful, empowering, motivational corporate culture in the world. And if I didn't fix all the things that were connected to those things that I fixed, they'd be broken in 6 months to a year. Why is this? A couple of things. I know we could say, well, big business is stupid because we all know that. No one of us is as dumb as all of us. Any groups of people get very dumb. So let's not take shots at big business, right? But if you don't change all the things that are connected to the things that you're changing, and you don't teach people the underlying principles for how you built that foundation, those things that you built will be eroded if someone's not there as a steward. This is how a constitutional democracy can erode its own foundation when the very people in charge of it now don't understand the rules that are in it. Let's not take knocks at senators and government. It's an easy shot, but it's true. If you don't understand the whys of the system that are there and you start monkeying with stuff, that one pin you just pulled was the thing holding it all together. What are we doing? So I had to not only expand the problems that I was finding to get to the root causes of things, but also know that any change I made here was going to have an effect on all kinds of other things, and make changes there, and then teach people a context for how to run the thing. Not just going to build you a car and hand you the keys. We're also going to teach you to drive it. So that's what I started to do when I found that was a very good way to make lasting change, right? I had to train these people because I could teach how to fly a plane, and in good weather, you could probably keep that thing up in the air. But when a storm comes, if you don't know how the thing works, if you don't know the principles of lift, thrust, weight, and drag. I don't know. Is Colonel Hansen here? We'll ask him later. But if you don't understand those 4 forces of flight, you're not going to be able to pivot. So I made a system that could cover all things in all situations and make lasting change. But then the question was put to me that changed everything. And I love questions. The question was, what if you did this for small companies? Would it work? You go on and on about how all business is the same. So will it work down here? Well, it's an issue of scale, maybe. But if I distilled it to the right level, I could probably make something that works for anybody. Okay? But I had to do a whole lot of things, right? I had to give people context more than anything else. Because people are drowning in a sea of content, right? So context over content. I had to say, here's a grounding foundational model from which we can build anything we want to build. Okay? It had to be simple enough that people could understand it, flexible enough that it could help you pivot and we could flex it to where you are so it would meet you where you are. Had to be holistic enough to cover every problem that we could find. And had to be fun enough that you actually follow it and do it. So I set out to do just that, to build that kind of model that would work everywhere and get people out of that sea of content. And so I started with a diagnostic. I said, could I create a business architecture diagnostic that a entrepreneur could deploy to their business in simple set of questions, right? 5 questions per topic. Could I get people to self-diagnose their business, get a report that told them exactly what was wrong and exactly how to fix them? That would be insanely valuable to them. And it'd be a tool I could use anywhere. And so that's then what I created. To designed in order to ascertain whether people had the right foundational knowledge and connections in place between all things. Because here's the beautiful thing that happens with entrepreneurs that's different than with large companies. That entrepreneurs, so large companies, there's a lot of difference, right? Large companies have entirely different massive ecosystems with politics and forces and boards and shareholders and all kinds of stuff that you don't have to deal with. But what entrepreneurs don't have is the structure where there's a lot of experts around you protecting you from the things you don't know. You can rise to the top of a large corporation, have a smattering of understanding of things, be great in your lane, and go very far. But as an entrepreneur, you're all things for all people at all times, potentially. And so what happens is entrepreneurs get into business because they had a great idea. They either got tired of the big corporate thing and then came here and found out, oh, all the things I was used to other people doing, they're not doing. And I didn't pay enough attention. Or they say, I have a great idea. And they fall ass backwards into a business. Pardon my French. Is business French? Anyway, pardon my French. They fall ass backwards into a business because they had this product or service. And now they're piecing things together. Right? They know on some level that they're getting big enough that now we got to hire people. I know there's a way to do that. So I'm going to piece together some kind of HR thing. And now I got people and I'm over here and I'm not really leading them well. Maybe I take a leadership course. And then I know there's processes and procedures and systems and automations and project management tools. And we can be very slacktive all day, feeling that we're active, but really slacking off, right? We're working on all those kinds of things that are fun, right? And so they Frankenstein monster together a business and they lumber along and then they look at that business and they go, look at it. It's making $2 million a year. Isn't it great? Well, that 2 should be 20. I mean, it's lumbering along. You're in it, so you can't see that there are issues with it, right? It's your baby. You don't know that. Low lighting is this baby's friend. So it's your thing, right? But you've cobbled this together and you never understood that the value in that system is between the hidden connections between each of the pieces. That's okay that you didn't see it. Most people don't see it. Like 99% of people don't see that is those leverage points and the full extent to which they go. So let's actually look at the model, see what am I talking about. So this is the BAMF architecture. This is our model. Right? The business architecture management framework is our model of 10 different areas. Strategic planning. I'll go into how I define each of these in a minute. Strategic planning, execution, time management, although I prefer to call it freedom because you don't really manage time any more than the guy in the blow up raft manages the river. Well, he's white running. You manage yourself in the flow of it. Okay, so time management is not great. Process and automation, measurement, and then we get into change management, people management, leadership, marketing, and sales, and protection. So why are there 10? Because 10 is a good number. This could have been 12, could have been 42, could have been 12, could have been 6. Too few. And I've aggregated too many things, and these issues become and departments and disciplines become too unworkable. Too many, and it's like I don't even know. I got to master 42 things. Get out of here. So, salespeople and marketing people, for example, might say, "Well, marketing and sales are totally different." Well, they're different. They are different. I'm combining them so we get to 10, and I'm combining them because. Okay. I have worked with large institutional clients who you would think would know better, where the marketing department and the sales department not only don't really talk to each other, they don't even like each other. But this is a superstar senior VP of marketing, and this is a superstar senior VP of sales, and sales are happening, and marketing is being done. So it must be okay, right? It's not. And that happens a lot. So frequently that I said, I'm going to make them one thing. So I'm going to already in the model start forcing you to think that some of these things are more connected, level 1 connections, as we call them, versus level 2 connections, which is they are connected, but it is not as direct a thing. They must be included. And level 3 is it touches it. You don't get the most leverage by by changing a level 3 connected process, procedure, discipline area as you would a level 2 or a level 1. So I'm starting to put them in. Same thing with process and automation, right? They are 2 separate different things. One is about seeing your business as a system of interrelated value chains. And the other, which is incredibly helpful, and the other is how do I make things happen on their own so I don't have to sit there and watch them. Wow, the way you describe them, they sound very different, yet they're often said in the same breath. And they should be because they're close, but they're different. Okay. And leadership and people management, people say, well, isn't that the same? That is very different. The management of people, the me watching what Brandon's doing and Brandon responding to me watching what he's doing, and the back and forth of that is much different than leadership. And you can know, and you would know this if you walk the halls of any even medium-sized organization. You know that there are people who are not in management who are leaders. And you know that there are people very high up in management who are terrible leaders. And you know that there are leaders who couldn't manage them and a team to get out of an escape room, right? Or even a conference room sometimes. So this is the model. And so by strategic planning, I'm talking about the typical things that you would talk about, like mission, vision, and core values. And the way we talk about them differently is we get very refined with people on their mission because it is a guiding light in the dark, right? We get very crystal clear on their mission and their vision set at the appropriate interval of time, and their core values as the way in which they do the things they do. And we tell them how to get leverage across the entire system here instead of just writing a bunch of words that either go up on a conference room wall or a statement, you raise your hand and salute and once a year at a conference, right? That's not what we're talking about. We are talking about mission, vision, core values. Execution is project management. You can plan the greatest race. Unless you run it, you're not running it. You're not winning anything, okay? So execution is how we execute with precision, clarity, and purpose in our business, which saves us a lot of time. So time management, so how do we say, it's really time allocation. And how do I also leverage the amount of time I'm putting onto the system and into the system? And being very strategic about that. Process and automation is, as I said, value streams. This is how you take rare earth and make it into a dory bar. And right, you are taking something, transforming it, and making something. Whether there is time, effort, supplies, materials, whatever it is, anything, and that has value. So the customer is always present in your mind when you're designing processes. I've unraveled lots of processes that existed simply for the purpose of supporting the machine around it that had no purpose. Lots of work out there in the world is being done that does not need to be done for the sake, because as a result of poor process management, delineation, architecture, without the customer in mind. Okay, so there are a bunch of value chains and then the tools that we use in order to automate those things. Right. Measurement. Ooh, we're going to spend a lot of time tomorrow about measurement. This is your dashboard, right? We're flying a plane with instrumentation. This is understanding what we're measuring the right things. Math is the path, yes. But I can't believe you can't, I mean, I cannot believe, and you would not believe, no one will believe the measures that I've seen that people are looking at that either A, they don't know what it's telling them, right? Or they're spending a lot of time and effort looking at the wrong measures. And in a corporate, in any environment, really, the other power of measurement, can't go into all the connections here, but because of time, but for measurement, also we get from people what we measure. We get from people what we measure. So there is a people management and leadership and strategy connection here, where all of those things must be aligned. Right? And your processes are kicking off a lot of your measures. So all of these things have to be coordinated at the same time. Okay, but that's what we talk about when we're talking about measurement. Then next we have change management. So you got to pivot. Oh no, recession is coming. Call it a rhinoceros. I don't care what you call it. A thing is happening and we need to pivot. How do we manage that change so that it doesn't blow up everything that we have? Right? You're building the ship for all weather, not just sunny days. Right? So let's make sure that we know that anytime we need to pivot, we can do so without breaking the whole system. Anytime I've been called in to fix a disaster recovery situation, or when we do disaster recovery, disaster planning, those scenarios are fun because you're coming in to an environment and you're saying, how does everything run? This is how it runs. Okay, here's a scenario. Giant thing just broke. Oh, that would never happen. It happens. I ran corporate pandemic planning sessions with companies. The ones that did that were not as surprised by COVID as the ones who didn't. Because the ones who didn't said, well, that's never going to happen. Okay. People management. We talked about this. This is chain of command. This is understanding how all parts work with all parts. And this is also co-management, because my handoffs in my process are your handoffs in yours, and the customer is the end recipient. How do we work as a more cohesive team? And how are we manage through that? Leadership is tied to the vision and the mission and the goal setting and the rallying cry, but also the calm when we need calm, the steady hand on the till when that is necessary. This can come from any level. I'm not talking about architectural, structural, hierarchical leadership. Okay, I'm talking about leadership in toto. And then we've got so there was something else I wanted to say around that, but I don't want to, in the interest of time, I'll come back to that. Then we got marketing and sales. We talked about this. Marketing is the, hey, we are doing things. And then sales is the process of, I don't want to say close, right? This isn't a pitch close kind of thing. But the sales is the actual agreement of an exchange, right? Okay? But marketing and sales combined, let's not get hung up on the words for right now. Architecturally, we'll say this is the engine of revenue. Together, that's a fair description. We'll just think of them as the engine of revenue. And then protection. I am a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. I am a lawyer. So here, if we talk about legal things, it will be in the rarefied airs of hyperbole and speculation, but not specific, because we don't have that attorney-client relationship. So we'll just get at that. But so, and I don't lead with being a lawyer. I want people to grow to hate me. I don't want them to hate me right off the bat. So, okay, we don't talk about that. But protection is not just legal, it's intellectual property, protection of that. It is protection of your people, protection from an insurance standpoint, a legal standpoint. Are we getting all the right advice? Tax protection. This is like nobody jumps for joy when we cover that model, but it's very important. Helps us sleep sound at night. That is the model. Okay. So the energy here is, we're going to bring this down now because we're going to talk about what we're here to talk about, which is the recession proofing of your business. So where are we in the model? Let's ground in this. This is foundational, grounding, timeless. Okay? That's the energy we're playing. So recessions happened, or other problems happening, right? But we're talking about recession. We're talking about strategic planning. Did something massive change beneath me that makes my entire business irrelevant? We'll go there. Ask those questions. We're going to talk about process and automation. We're going to talk about measurement tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to talk about what do we need to measure here in preparation. Where am I really? This is getting your blood work done. This is figuring it out. Before I am ready to run a marathon in a hurricane, I got to know the metrics. So we're going to tell you what's important beforehand, get you dialed in there. We're going to talk about leadership through this kind of thing. I've got a company. If we're all panicking, if we're making decisions, if we're automating more and not having as many employees, how do we manage through that? How do we lead through that? Huge important things. We're going to have experts on that come in later in the week. We even have a decorated retired Army colonel talk about leadership through the toughest of times. Okay, phenomenal. That'll be in one of the VIP rooms. Marketing and sales, we're having two brilliant luminary experts come in and talk about what you're going to need to do in the next 6 to 12 months to handle this. And then we're going to talk about protection, right? Financial, largely. Okay. That's where we are. So right now I'm going to talk about strategic planning. So we can think of this. Here's what happens with our brains, with some new thing that we're just encountering. What in the ever-loving, right? What am I looking at? And so what can happen is we go into fight or flight mode, which really just is us saying, I need to protect myself. I'm scared. And I need to like wall things in. And that makes us feel a little bit safer. So the problem seems a little smaller, but not very much safer. And what it does is it has us thinking about problems in a way that disrupts our value chain and puts our business in jeopardy more than it was before. See, because if we remove the box and say, it's not really about me, okay, alone. If I'm in some kind of mastermind or have expert counsel around me, it's me and them, right? Kind of the me and the world against this. It is not a problem unique to me. We can get into that someday, but today we're talking about recession, which is everyone. And it's really not about me protecting myself. It's about me still providing value to my customer. Because if I can do that, I can survive. Let's just take that in right there for a second. If I can do that thing, if I can still serve others, my business is fine. But we got to think about our strategy very critically, because my mission is to serve a particular audience, resolve a particular problem. That could be through a service or a product, right? And so has that audience gone away? Right? There are no more left-handed cavemen on the planet. Regardless of what you might think of my brother-in-law. I'm kidding. I love my brothers-in-law. Are we live streaming this? We are. Love you. Right. Regardless of what, there are no more left-handed cavemen in the world. And that was my business, was helping them do left-handed caveman stuff. So that's a problem. Now, does anyone else still have that problem? Because I know how to solve the problem, right? But if that is unique to that population, the population is gone, then I got a problem. Right? It's one kind of problem. The other kind of problem is they still exist, but the thing I was giving them is gone or no longer needed, right? That's another way to look at this. And so we can say, am I Smith Corona, the at one time world's biggest and strongest and bestest in all ways typewriter company, who saw a change coming, could only pivot enough to say, well, we're going to make the best word processors. Not enough. Gone. They were that until the day they closed their doors. Or we're Kodak, and we were focused on film. We realized film stating us. I realized there are people on here who don't even have the benefit of remembering driving up to a photo booth. They had little booths, like tall booths. The person sitting in it, bored, listening to music. They'd hand you a packet with your pictures. You drive maybe home to look at them, maybe just 20 feet away in the parking lot to look. And then you'd look and see which of the most of them were terrible, right? Somebody's finger over it and smudged, dark, too dark. And then you get like 4 that were pretty good. Those were your pictures. And thank goodness you had the negatives because you could make copies of those. Ridiculous thing. This is their thing. That's all going away, clearly. So they had to say, it's not about that. We're in capturing memories. Better, way better, because that can move. That mission can pivot with technology. Okay. They were too dialed in before. So you have to look. Are my customers still in need of this service? Or have they changed? How much? Right. This is, but you have to do this. A lot of people won't do this step. They'll just start to say, well, I need to reduce my expenses there, or I need to cut back on this. Well, that's you and yours, right? I can't say which because of NDAs, but I worked with an airline during COVID. And they said, oh my God, how are we going to milk money out of these people still? Right? So we'll cut back on this and we'll make this worse and we'll make no. If your mission is to help them travel from here to there, your mission just changed from here to there safely. Make them feel safer doing this thing. So I guess if you're gonna get anyone to fly, you're gonna have to give them more space, hand wipes, other things, masks, make them feel comfortable, whatever it is. That's the thing. I'm not saying, well, we don't want people touching things, so now we'll make them all have to register an app ahead of time, so I don't have to take their credit card to have them buy something. It's not. What are we doing? Okay, because they lost sight of the value chain and their end customer in what they were doing. Okay. Has your vision changed? You need to look at that. With a recession coming, am I not going to be able to grow as fast as I wanted? Am I not going to be able to serve people in the future the way I wanted to? We have to adjust short term before we make any other decisions of things. And then our core values. These should not change. But look at them. But they shouldn't, because the core values is what's important to you and how your people show up for the populace that you serve. Okay. That should be fine. But those first two are vital. So I'm going to, that's a lot of talkity talk without any back and forth. So Brandon, I will pause there and let's see if there's any comments from people saying, what are you talking about? Stop there. Could you go back here? Let's see if we can get some questions that I can address. And if not, then I'll talk to you.
We don't have any questions yet. I also didn't invite people to drop questions in the comments. So please, if you're watching this live, drop your questions in the comments. We have a number of people watching on all platforms. We are live in 8 places right now, which is crazy. So
widely do that. While they do that, I'd say, so
yes.
Our mission this week, or my mission this week, is to ground us in the certainty of the model. This works everywhere. We're not going to get lost. We're going to know where we are. We're going to have common understanding. And we're going to get somewhere. I want to fuel your mind with new information. Here's ways to look at these things, right? And then spark new ideas by constantly questioning what if? What if the world isn't what I think it is? What if things don't have to be the way they are? What if I can pivot? What if I will have the support to do that? Okay. And then send you on your way with a plan from each of these experts to say, I heard from 7 really smart people who are experts in these things, and they gave me some solid advice that I now can connect to a framework to make sense of all it, and I know exactly what to do over the next 6 months. That's my mission for today, the first part of that. The rest of that is the rest of the week.
Absolutely. So we talked about it in the beginning, and we put the link in the chat to go take your BAD assessment. Can you elaborate a little bit on, this 8-minute assessment? You've done this with Nike, Uber, Johnson & Johnson, the names we can't say because of NDAs. I mean, why is this tool so crucial? I alluded to it in the beginning, but give us a little background of why this tool is so important and why we're talking about all of this on day one, so we can anchor and build that foundation for the rest of the week.
Yeah. So the BAD was designed to be, it solved for several problems, right? If I go in to a client and say, you're doing it wrong, sometimes they go, you can't tell me. Who are you to tell me I'm doing? You just got here. Okay, that's because they still think they're a snowflake and they don't understand that these principles are universal. So I don't want to do that. So instead I say, ask yourself these questions, because questions are everything. There are many reasons why it's called What If, but every great thing that's ever been built is a result of someone asking the question, what if? So we ask questions, powerful tools in 12 different ways. They don't just dice vegetables. You can cut this can in half, right? They're the Ginsu knives of the world. Questions are everything. So you say, well, here's some questions. Ask yourself this. And then when they come back and I look at the scores, I go, okay, I didn't tell you that you're this. You told me you're that. Now, does this description that I've given you fit who you are? The answer is yes. Then you answered it correctly. Because here, I just told you what it would look like if these were the inputs. This is what it would look like. And if it doesn't look like that, then were you too hard on yourself or not hard enough on yourself, right? Because you didn't know how good it could be, so you thought it was better than it is, right? So this gave me a way to go in there, diagnose it with, like I said, if you've done it enough, I know the questions that if you say that there's 12 other questions I could ask after that one, but if I know that one, I'm going to get a pretty accurate thing. This only happens over 25 years of asking these questions. So it was designed to just be very easily answered questions on a sliding scale, sort of your metrics. And then we talk about, does this then describe your business? Okay, great. Well, good news. We have exactly the roadmap that you can go, and I'm not telling you that I have the only answer. This is the roadmap. These are the things to go fix. Well, gee, Sean, if you found the problem, maybe you should fix them. Sure, let's have that conversation. Maybe it's right, maybe it's not. Maybe we can't, right? But you know what your problems are. And you can anybody's fix that, right? So it was a way to get past that initial, I'm not really sure. And now it tells you, okay, this is the way. The sheer value in saying, ask these questions, ask them again next year, ask them again next year. It's my gift to you. You keep asking these questions of these areas and you will have a very dialed in business, period. And so it was a way to give massive value, get past those initial, I'm not really sure what we're talking about, conversations, and then have a framework to work with over time. And then clients that we do work with, we together ask those questions and they go, wow, my first scores were abysmal. Now they're pretty darn good. Yes. And a year from now, they'll be stellar and there'll be no stopping you. But okay. So that was why that was there. And then the power of the framework, when we talked about it, there's too much content out there in the world. If you have this, we have clients that once they had this, they said, no, it's amazing. I go to a seminar and I know exactly where everything they're talking about fits in my model. And I can take more out of everything and less of what I don't need. I'm now laser focused when I get new information and see new things because I know right where it should go and I can cut away all the stuff that's just noise and nonsense. That's how it works.
And you alluded to my next question, my follow-up question, which was how often should you take the assessment? And the real question behind that is, what's a feasible timeline for someone to, let's say they have a problem with change management, right? And they consult with us and we can fix that issue. How quickly should they expect to see results and to see results show up on that assessment, regardless of the area that it's in?
If you've never taken it before, you're going to see massive upticks right away because the delta is just so big, right? We're going to be cutting right to, this is exactly what you need to change right now for the biggest thing. If they're phenomenal, and which never happens, I want to find them, but if they're phenomenal and they in everything and there's just small gaps, I mean, that you're not going to see that as quickly, right? But I guess it's the size of the problem and the size of the organizational inertia that you'll find, right? If you're dealing with titans, I mean, moving a large institutional Fortune 500 client is like moving the Titanic around the iceberg. It's a long, slow turn, right? Unless something happens to them that blows their business sideways and they have no hope but to do it. It's a long, slow thing. That's why I prefer working. One of the many reasons I prefer working with smaller clients, because if they are all in line and they can get their people to do all the things and they can get out of their own way and not resist. Well, I think I still know best. You don't. So just here's what we do and you do it. It's like with anything. Personal trainer, how quickly can I see results? I don't know. Are you eating a Twinkie right now? Because I think I can see you. You're on Zoom. Right? It's going to be a while. No, you're going to do every single thing and not think you know best. You're going to see results right away. So that's no answer, but it's an answer. It's a very accurate answer, which is it kind of depends on where they are, the inertia we're facing, and the size and scope of their problem. But difference with this is there will be a change and it will get fixed and it will get maximized because we're not going to just fix that one thing. It's like if I went to the doctor and said, hey, doc, my arm, it's kind of feeling it's heavy, it's kind of numb, and these, right? So and I'm pretty sure it's a nerve thing. So look at my nerves. He goes, well, yeah, okay, but I'm going to listen to your heart. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to take your. No. It's nerves. Check it out. I don't even really need you up here on my shoulder. Certainly leave my spine alone. It's this. Really, it's these two fingers too, and this is the worst. There. Just work on my pinky. Go ahead. See, no. That you want. Let's establish what you want with crystal clarity. It is this pain is this. I want this symptom to go away. Great. Now we'll find it because it could be 11 other things. 9 in our model, right? So let's say, well, I want you to fix. It's our people. Get in here and work on them. Are you open to it being any other thing, including also and probably you? What the probably thing? It could, if it's also could be you, we'll come in and we'll fix it, right? So we're solving things where the problems are holistically rather than just in that microcosm. So when we're told the problem, we make sure that before we start on anything that we all agree that might not be the problem. So problem finding and holistic fixing is a part of the answer, and that takes time.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess the question that I have is in working with small businesses in particular, and I can tell you I'm guilty of this. I've been guilty of this in the past. I was a small business owner. Why are small business owners so lazy? And what I mean by that is why do we typically not prepare in advance for situations like this? We know the economy runs in cycles, right? There is a recession on average once every 7 years, and there's a deep recession once every 15 or so years. That's not me making that up. And as a matter of fact, if you watching have not seen Ray Dalio's video, I think it's like a 15-20 minute video on how the economy works. It explains all of that in detail. I highly suggest you go watch that video because that kind of sets up this question, which is we know it's coming. We don't always know when, but we can kind of forecast it. Why are we not prepared? Why are we not doing this stuff ahead of time, which is why this challenge came about? But tell me that. So why do you see that small business owners in particular are lazy and not planning? Because you did hint at your Fortune 50 clients were always planning in advance for stuff like this.
First things first, everyone's lazy. Okay. That's why I saw many of the problems I saw in institutional clients. They're lazy. They do it because they have to, because it's a machine. They're cogs. They're not making this. You know how many people make a decision in a there's the illusion of decisions. Well, I'm gonna decide to put this off till tomorrow, but it'll be done by Friday, right? Because HR needs it by Friday. Oh, no, it'll be done by Friday. No, I got my bonus to worry about. It'll be done by Friday. You're not making decisions. You're not actually in control. You have the illusion of control. It's a model for all systems everywhere, all hierarchies of people everywhere, right? You have the illusion of so they do it because corporate says we have to do it. And we have to do some of these things because why? Well, because the board of directors told us. Who told them? The shareholders or the street, right? And so we have to have an earnings call on this date. There is no, well, I'm going to push it up. That is it. And CEO and CFO will show up and look nice and speak to Wall Street. It happens. So there's a machine in place that makes them do it. Otherwise, they'd be just as lazy as everyone else. And they would do, and there are some people, so here's why. They look lazy because they're not doing the things they don't want to do or don't really know how to do. They think they're doing it. They're not doing it. I was in a professional mastermind where their strategic planning thing made me want to crawl under the desk or jump out the window, because what they called strategic planning was the hopeful plotting of numbers that looked favorable for them. My strategic plan is next time at this year, I'll have 2 million customers. That's not a plan. That's a child's birthday wish before you blow out candles. It's not a plan. You're not doing strategic planning, right? So they're either doing it, but there's no evidence of it because they're not really doing it right, or B, they're not doing it because they don't like that one. I mean, there are people that are like, oh, you'll get any two business owners together. Why are you so focused on sales? Well, it's this and all this. It's because they like it. They see it as what it is. And this person doesn't like it. Well, why weren't you doing? I can't do sales yet. I'm still in the planning phase. They love strategic planning. I love strategic planning. That's my jam. Let's do that all day. No, we now have to run the race. And there are people that love running the race. This is why in big corporate cultures, people find their place and the runners run and the planners plan, and right? They find their places and they're okay in that place because there is an entire machine around them. Entrepreneurs don't have that. They are a massive cog in that machine, sometimes the only one. The less cogs there are, the more leverage each one has. And so they're like, well, I don't have time to do that. I've had people say, here's what we need to do in order to get your calendar totally free, focused on it. And they go, I don't have time to do that. You don't have time to make yourself more time? No, I said, that's like telling a personal trainer, I'm too fat to go to the gym to get in shape. Well, okay, right. This doesn't make sense. You have to take the time. You have to get in shape to get in shape. You've got to start the process. Let's start chipping away at things. You do have the time. So it's not that they're lazy, any more lazy than anybody else. Everybody's lazy. Big corporations have a corporate infrastructure and machine around them that forces them to do the things they need to do. It takes care of all the stuff they don't want to do, so it happens anyway. Entrepreneurs don't have that luxury. It's them and two other people, and we're split up. But they got to know, and they have to know all the things. And where they have blind spots, those are holes in their machine, and they're just not going to get as much leverage. That's it. And so, in our model, that's the power of, could be our mastermind, another mastermind, doesn't matter. But we then give you that structure. No, we are going to do strategic planning on this date. This is when we're starting it. It's in this window. We're all starting it. We drag you along. We're going to retake the bad so we have the numbers. We're going to do that. We're doing it together for all of the businesses there. And all businesses are rising then as a result. What result did you get? You're measuring that? I should measure that too. But we're going to say, for her, it is right to measure that. For you, you should be measuring this. We all should be measuring these 5 things. We got it? Let's go. Okay. Did I answer your question? I don't know. I think I was just riffing now. Like this is just the guitar solo at the end. I don't know.
You gotta love it. You did answer the question. And I think, and you also touched on the other key point, which is if you made it this far, right? And you're like, okay, I see how there's a model. I see the importance of the model. And I see how I've never looked at any of this stuff in my business. The next, I guess, overwhelming step.
Looked at each of them as individual silos.
Right.
Or as a discipline that is connected to one or two, but not all areas. You didn't inject the right dye into the organism to see where it'll, right? When you inject dye in and you see it proliferate the system, just how far it goes. If you don't fully understand that web, you're tugging at strings that are having some downstream problem, and you think it's something else. Man, that light keeps going on and it's bothering me. You're flicking the switch. All right, so anyway.
Yes, and the point of that is the excuse, I'm too fat to go to the gym, right? That you mentioned. We take the bad, we get our assessments, and then I don't have time. I don't have time to run my business like a COO. I'm already doing all this and all that, regardless of how many employees you have. To me, that's what I hear from most people. And I'm sure you've heard this a number of times, is the biggest roadblock? Because it's a comfortability factor, right? It's like, I've made it this far. I might be a little uncomfortable, but I'm not dying. I'm not going out of business. What is the last step to get somebody over that hump? Is it the community of people around them doing the same thing and moving forward? Is it a mindset issue? Do we need to slap them through a Zoom call on the computer? How do you get people from, I know I need to, now I'm going to?
So I know we're not here to talk about the mastermind, but I'm going to talk about the mastermind just because the answer is why I built what I built in the mastermind is the answer to the question, which is, it depends on the person, but it could be they just don't see it, right? Okay. Earlier you said something and I wanted to make it the point that happy times make for happy people and hard times make hard people, right? And it's like when we're depressed, kind of, we don't see any hope, so we're all here together and we can't see better ways to do things, right? And then we're good times, man, we're rolling, and we don't plan for disaster because we live in disaster. It's all we see. We can't plan for anything good, right? There's those people, we never hear from them. And then there's the ones that it's happy times all day. We're not going to plan for disaster because it's never going to happen. And then it does, right? So these people don't know how to deal with that's coming because they don't live in it. And these people don't know how to deal with the good times and can't prosper even when the disaster hasn't come, okay? And so to get people over the thing, there are people where you need to break their model of what is holding them in, get them out of the long iron hallway, right? To say, there is something else. You're not seeing this right. Then there's the people that don't have the energy. They don't have the mindset, right? So we have experts that are coming in here dealing with your energy, your health, your mindset, because people are going to come. Because just like with the architecture, when I said I can't talk about marketing without talking about sales. I can't talk about leadership without talking about vision, right? So I can't talk about this unless I talk about this. And so if we built an entire business model for people, say, apply this anywhere, you're good. And they go, oh, that's great. If only I could, because I have a terrible relationship with my wife. My energy's in the toilet. And I'm sweating when I look at food. Like I'm out of shape. I'm dying over here. So none of that matters. Then we will have paths and ways that you can handle that too, because we know it's all connected. And so whatever that leverage point is, to get people to see what could be and to help bring them there, we're going to do it, or we're going to try.
Amen to that. And yes, that was a little bit of an insight into our mastermind and all the people we have there. We have gone over, as I asked you and begged you in the beginning, to please forgive us if we do that. There's so much to talk about. We have 10 parts of this architecture, and we're only going to talk about 4 this week. So thank you for sticking with us. I hope you got a ton of value out of today. And today was just the beginning. Today is the foundation of the rest of the week. We have 4 more days. We're going to look at sales, marketing, numbers. Tomorrow's numbers for all my nerds out there who love numbers. Sean, I'm looking at you. We are going to look at numbers tomorrow. We're going to have a great time doing it with a special guest. Right now, we are going to hop over to a VIP session with both of our good friend, Gene Good. Do you want to tease that a little bit? And then I will close this out for the day, I promise.
So we talked about, there's a lot of fear. So now we're going to start getting into helping us get some of these fears put to rest. And so one of the things is, oh no, if tough times are coming, that's bad for both my business and me personally. My finances are going to be impacted. Anybody give me some clarity and comfort and confidence that I'm doing the right things. What should I be thinking about? We have an amazing all-star financial whiz, somebody who understands both business owners and entrepreneurs, business owners, family people. She understands all the things, and she's going to be talking about all things finance, personal and professional, and you're going to love her because I don't love a lot of people. I love everybody.
Well, thank you, Sean. We will see you over there in just a few minutes. But for right now, let's jump back to these slides real quick. So we said we would cover the foundation. We did that. I'm going to speed through this because I already told you we're over on time and we got to head over to the VIP session. So you see it on the screen there. Email jstapleton@whatif.com. Unfortunately, we're having those technical difficulties, but if you say to us you want to join us in VIP, drop it in the comments, email Joe, and we will hook you up. We'll get that figured out. You'll have VIP and all the special bonuses for the rest of the week. That's it for today. We're going to go over to VIP. We will see you tomorrow. Wherever you're watching this, whatever platform you're on, it will be live streamed again tomorrow. I can't wait to see you there. If you have any questions, email us, email Joe, drop it in the comments, and we will address them on screen live as best as possible. We're heading over to VIP, upgrade, and we'll see you there.
Chose a gun and threw away the sun. Now these towns, they all know our name. 6 gun sound.